Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive shakeup in the AI world, how a sudden US export ban on Anthropic's top models triggered a major shift in the global AI architecture. We're going to look at exactly how this regulatory shockwave rippled through the industry and how it dramatically accelerated the rise of localized, sovereign AI over in Asia. Here is our roadmap for today. We're hitting 1. The Anthropic export ban, 2. Asian startups fill the gap, 3. Sakana AI's orchestration model, 4. 360's automated security AI, 5. The sovereign AI shift, and finally, 6. Next steps for developers. Okay, let's jump right in.
Section 1. The Anthropic export ban. We absolutely have to start with the geopolitical trigger that literally severed global access to a $47 billion AI giant overnight.
When you look at this timeline, it is staggering just how fast this unfolded. In May of 2026, Anthropic is on this historic growth trajectory, crossing a massive $47 billion run rate. But then, fast forward to June 12th at exactly 5:21 p.m. Eastern, the US government issues a directive citing national security authorities. And the fallout? By that very evening, Anthropic is forced to abruptly disable global access to their frontier models, Fable 5 and Mythos 5, for all foreign nationals. Just like that. One moment developers everywhere are building on these massive models, and the next, they're completely locked out.
Now, there is a stark contrast between the two narratives surrounding this ban. On one side, the government claimed they were made aware of a jailbreak method, which is essentially a way to prompt the model to read a specific code base and fix software flaws, which they viewed as a serious national security risk. On the flip side, Anthropic argued that perfect resistance is literally impossible for any model provider. They strongly defended their defense-in-depth strategy, pointing out that no universal jailbreak exists for their models, and the minor vulnerabilities found were already present in competing models like OpenAI's GPT 5.5. But regardless of who is right here, the outcome was an immediate, hard partitioning of the frontier AI market.
Moving to Section 2, Asian startups fill the gap. Because nature abhors a vacuum, within just 2 weeks of the ban, the market aggressively stepped in to fill the void.
And to be clear, we aren't just talking about a few indie developers acting on a whim. Tokyo-based Sakana AI raised a massive $135 million Series B round. It's absolutely astonishing to see that kind of capital raised in essentially the same breath as a major market disruption. This push rocketed their valuation up to a staggering $2.65 billion. Backed by major financial heavyweights, they're actively using this cash to build powerful, regional AI alternatives that are tailored directly to local languages and cultures.
So the crucial takeaway here is that both Japan and China immediately launched highly funded, locally optimized models directly targeting the capabilities of the restricted Mythos and Fable. Sakana AI launched Fugu, named after the Japanese blowfish, which is a delicacy that's highly toxic if you don't slice it exactly right. Meanwhile, over in Beijing, cybersecurity firm 360 unveiled a model called Tulongfeng. Suddenly, local alternatives were standing shoulder to shoulder with the capabilities of the banned American tech.
Section 3. Sakana AI's orchestration model. Let's see how this builds into a fundamental architectural shift, moving away from giant monoliths and toward the approach championed by Fugu.
This is the big pivot taking place right now. Instead of relying on one massive, vulnerable US model, developers can use an orchestration model. What Fugu actually does is delegate, verify, and synthesize answers from a swarm of swappable agents. It's essentially an AI model specifically trained to call other AI models within an agent pool. You send a request to one single endpoint, and Fugu decides how to handle it, acting as a collective intelligence without you, the developer, having to hard-code the multi-agent routing yourself. It's a really elegant solution.
Based on their official documentation, Sakana is offering 2 tiers through a single API. You've got standard Fugu, which balances strong performance with low latency for things like your everyday chatbots and code review. But then there's Fugu Ultra. This is tuned for highly demanding multi-step problems. Think AI research, cybersecurity analysis, and patent investigations. By coordinating a deep pool of expert agents, they've ensured that whether you need pure speed or maximum accuracy, you never have to deal with the underlying complexity of multi-agent coding.
Section 4. 360's automated security AI. While Japan really leaned into orchestration, let's look at how China's 360 targeted the exact security layer that triggered the US export ban in the first place.
360 unveiled 2 distinct, highly specialized tools. The first is Tulongfeng, which is designed to completely automate the discovery of software vulnerabilities. The second is the Tinwanjin, which automates cyber defense and incident response. This is clearly a direct answer to the concerns cited by the US government.
360 is essentially making vulnerability detection and incident response an automated first-class citizen right there in the AI deployment pipeline. And Zhao Hongyi, the founder of 360, dropped a pretty stark warning here that elevates this way beyond a standard tech product launch into a serious geopolitical stance. By calling this a national strategic asset, he's implying that lacking this detection capability is a sovereign weakness. He specifically warns of one-way transparency, this really dangerous scenario where only certain international actors possess advanced vulnerability detection capabilities, while everyone else is left totally blind.
Section 5. The Sovereign AI Shift. This brings us to the broader, perhaps unintended consequence of the Anthropic export ban, the massive acceleration of the sovereign AI movement.
Sakana CEO David Ha really hits the nail on the head regarding the new market sentiment. Relying on a single U.S. provider is no longer just an operational choice, it's now viewed across the board as a critical infrastructure vulnerability that absolutely has to be hedged. When your foundational model can just be restricted by foreign regulations in a matter of hours, orchestration and collective intelligence become your best insurance policy.
You can totally see how this shapes their business strategy, right? While Sakana claims the timing of their Fugu launch alongside the Anthropic ban was entirely coincidental, they are very actively leveraging this exact sentiment. They are explicitly marketing their models as a way to achieve top-tier frontier performance without the looming risk of sudden U.S. regulatory disruptions. For any non-U.S. enterprise right now, that is a highly compelling value proposition.
Which brings us to Section 6, Next Steps for Developers. With the frontier model market undeniably partitioned by these geopolitical events, what exactly should you be doing with your architecture? You've got to adapt to this fragmentation immediately. First up, audit your dependencies. If your stack is tightly coupled to a single provider's API, you need mapped fallback endpoints today. Second, test out decentralized orchestration patterns, like Fugu's API native routing, so you aren't hard-coded to one vendor's specific prompt format. Third, treat AI security scanning as a mandatory CI/CD gate before deployment. It just can't be an afterthought anymore. And finally, monitor your data residency to make sure your data flows actually comply with these new localized jurisdictions.
As you restructure your stacks for this totally new, decentralized reality, I want to leave you with this final thought. You really have to ask yourself, does relying on a swarm of globally orchestrated agents truly protect your infrastructure from single points of failure, or does it just open up entirely new, unforeseen attack vectors? It is a crucial question for anyone building in this space right now. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this gave you a clear view into the rapidly shifting foundation of the global AI landscape.